podcast. I'm James, and I'm joined by Dara Cunningham.
Hello there.
I doubted myself, and I almost said Rocco Dean as well.
I'm definitely not Rocco Dean. I can confirm that. The rumors
Yeah,
of me being Rocco are completely unfounded.
it's true. Okay, there's some background noise. Just turn that off. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining on the live stream. I'll edit all this nonsense out later for anyone listening on the audio version. So, yeah, special thanks to Bass and Bly, sponsor of the podcast. Bass and Bly, fine camera shop based in Harrogate, North Yorkshire. They sell the very best in. Well, I'll show you, Dara. You can keep them busy.
Oh yeah, give us a look. James using his fancy new equipment to show things on the screen. I love it.
Fancy new. We shall see. So yeah, they sell the very best in cameras, sporting optics such as binoculars and spotting scopes. They even sell thermal imaging, which I think I've mentioned before, which you can look at stuff in the dark. I'm guessing Predator,
Yeah,
you
like
likened
Predator,
it to.
like Predator, exactly. Yeah.
Anyone into their 80s films. But yeah, they sell. If you go on the used section, there's absolutely tons of stuff. There's lenses. There's cameras. I keep saying cameras because I'm running out of things to say, but there is absolutely loads. Go to bassandbly.com and they always have some offers on as well. So yeah, make sure you check them out. www.bassandbly.com or 6 Beulah Street in Harrogate. Sorry, Dara.
You stole my line. You stole my line.
I did steal your line. I stole it.
All right, go on. No, you just do the rest of the podcast on your own. I'll just. All right.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dara. I'll give you the Leeds Creators Cup then.
Well, you can't just give it to me. I have to win it.
We have to compete. But yeah, talk about the Leeds Creator Cup. I'll bring that up on screen as well, just showing off as well for anyone.
I am excited. I am very excited. So myself, James, and Rocco are playing on the Yorkshire Roses against the Peacocks in the John Charles Stadium, which is the South Leeds Stadium, on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Tickets are still available. £7 for adults, £3 for kids. All money going to Prostate Cancer UK, and it's effectively all your favorite. I hate to call myself a YouTuber. I'm far too old to be a YouTuber, but all your favorite Leeds United content creators. So we're on a team with some of the big guys. We've got Joe Wayneman on our team. How do you pronounce his name again, James?
So yeah, public apology for. I've been calling Joe Wayman Joe Wyman, and because I thought Rocco had corrected me for it to be Wyman, and it turns out the other day Rocco said, "You do know it's not Wyman, don't you? It's Wayman." It's like I've been saying it like this for 2 years. Cheers, Rocco. Anyway, but yeah. Joe's going to be captain of our team, and we've got Dan the man as our manager as well, who's been fantastic.
I'll tell you what, he's the find of the season here. Like, we're talking about players, but I tell you, this Dan the manager guy, I've had a few text conversations with him, and he makes me want to run through brick walls for him. I don't know how he does it. I've never had a manager like that before, who like just says the right thing at the right time that makes you want to do it. And actually, revelation today when Joe Blackburn told us that we may have strings for Yasmin to walk out to. I'm just telling you now, if I walk out to a stadium in Leeds with full of Leeds fans to strings of Yasmin, I might actually kill someone to win the match.
I thought you were going to say cry.
No, I think I might kill someone. Like, I will literally think I'm Billy Bremner, and I'm literally going to do whatever it takes. In fact, everyone will be sent off in 5 minutes because we're all going to be living that dream of thinking we're actually playing for Leeds. But no, it's going to be a great occasion, and also there'll be a bar there too, so plenty of drinks, and we'll all be having a beer afterwards as well, and it'd be great to meet people after the game. So yeah, if you can come along, please do. It's a bit of fun. The weather's supposed to be great. Bring the family, have a drink with us and a chat with us after the match, and hopefully enjoy a bit of football as well, and in the Yorkshire sunshine.
Yeah, that's it. Well, straight into Leeds news, and as everyone saw, Dan James has announced a new tracksuit top. That's what everyone was excited about. I think every comment related to that. But yeah, the tracksuit's lovely, isn't it?
It is. It actually really is. It's got like those 80s vibes about it, hasn't it? It just looks. It's like 80s vibes with a modern twist. It looks class.
Yeah, so good. But it's obviously the Adidas Originals logo on it, the trefoil. Oh, there we go. That little one. So it's going to be expensive because anything Adidas Originals, they tend to put a price on it as well. But But yeah, Dan James signed a new contract. It's been talked about for a few weeks now. I think Baron Cross talked about it. We've wanted it for some time. I think he is Premier League experience and he's Leeds through and through, isn't he? He always was. Even at Swansea, he was Leeds.
He genuinely was. I think his dad was a Leeds fan, so being at Leeds means a lot to him. And I just love the guy. To me, that was great news this summer or this week. People that listen to the pod will know Dan James is my absolute favourite player, been my favourite player for a very, very long time. He's wholeheartedly Leeds. He's excellent. He's developing as well. I love to see that. I love to see a player literally grow and become better before your eyes. Like when he first came, he was pure pace and aggression and determination. But he's added that finished product to his repertoire this season. We've seen goals, assists, but it's not even that. It's just clever passing, tracking back, and even the type of goals he scored. Like if you look at which one was it? Was it Sheffield Wednesday? Maybe it was a little dink that he looked like he miscued, but dinked it over the keeper. You had the one at Middlesbrough, which we were all there for, 10th of December, where he hit a P-roller kind of low, tried to place it. A keeper get down and saved it. And then 10 seconds later, he's the exact same chance because Byron wins it back in midfield. And this time he does exactly what he should have done the first time and powers it through. And even just that thought process of it went wrong for me here. This is what went wrong for me. If I get that chance again, this is what I'll do. So I agree with Stephen Byrne there in the comments. I think it's amazing news. Tie him down to a 4-year contract. I think that's it. The right wing is sorted for the next 3-4 years. I think he's going to be a Leeds legend. I think he's only going to grow with the club, and very, very excited to get that one across the line. I think it gives us all a bit of peace of mind. I think it's only a matter of time before he's given the captain's armband. Maybe not, obviously from Ampadu, but as a stand-in at some point, subs or whatever, someone's going to hand him the armband because he's growing into that leadership role.
It's funny because if you watch the interviews with him post signing his new contract, he was saying that he doesn't see himself as a senior player, but he's 27 now. I still think of him as a very young man. He's still a young man at 27. Let's be honest. But yeah, I don't want to sound glum, I suppose, talking about this, but I do often think as well the what ifs with Dan James. Like, what if we'd signed a decent striker and he was pushed out to the wing? Would he have developed quicker rather than struggling in a forward position, then been sent out on loan and not really been played as well? So I kind of feel sorry for him, but equally I'm delighted that he's really kicked on in the last season and he completely deserves it. So yeah, excited for this season. We're going to need him. We're going to need that pace breaking forward when we're defending and out of possession a lot. So yeah, it'll be a really important player to us next season. I know some people obviously are getting a bit impetuous about no new signings, and every right to feel that way as well. That's not me denying that. But I think you see some comments in the signing post for Dan James talking about signing other players and talking negatively that it's only Dan James signing a new deal and they want new signings in the door. But appreciate what you've got. So that was a long way of saying please be quiet and get behind the man.
yeah, particularly when it comes to Dan James signing a new contract. And one other thing I might give you on the regrets thing or the opportunities missed. Imagine if he'd had a 2.5 more seasons under Bielsa. Imagine if we'd got him in that January.
Don't.
Yeah, I mean, what could Bielsa have done with Dan James? Could have been special.
Instead, he went to Scum and stagnated, but at least he's with us now. That's all that matters. Speaking of which, nice little segue into this weekend. We'll get on to all the sign-in chat and all that stuff, and I might have some news, sort of. Yeah, we're playing Scum. It's come round very, very quick, hasn't it? And I suppose that's one of the things that's alarming people at the minute, that we still haven't got all the signings that we probably need in the door. And then we're into friendly season already. But if you remember last season, it was this way as well. Granted, the stakes are higher, but we were in a similar position, and Farke managed to. Well, he managed us through that period.
Yeah, 100%. I think Man United game is not the target. Everton's the target. Like Man United is not the target. It'd be nice to see us on the pitch again. It'd be nice to see the new jersey. But always nice to play Scum. Now we're in the same league, and I think friendly carries less weight anyway. But
into him, get into him.
Yeah, get into him. F him up. I'm certainly not bothered whatsoever by the lack of forward signings in before playing Man United. Like that, it just makes no difference whatsoever.
Mm.
Our target date is the kickoff match against Everton. That's the big one. As long as we have the bulk of our players in for then, that's got to be all that matters. Nice to play Scum though in a friendly, and I'm sure we'll all be watching on. I mentioned it'll be on LUTV.
Yeah, definitely, and I think we will see some players that, like if you remember last season, we saw Harry Gray in the Harrogate Town game and a few others as well. So I think we'll see some. There'll be good players that get good match experience, and that's all that matters at this point. I would like to beat Man United. I'm going to be honest. I would really like us to beat Man United, particularly given the fall off last season. And have they signed many players that they were looking to get? I know I was speaking to a Man United fan the other day, which pained me in itself. I had a long car journey with the Man United fan actually, and he was devastated at the fact they were being linked to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which kind of shows you how they've fallen as well. So yeah, I would like to get a win. I would like it.
Yeah, it'd be nice, all right. But as long as we save the big one for January the 3rd, that's where we really want to beat them.
Remember the date? Yeah, we definitely do. And yeah, you mentioned the away kit. There's still rumours flying around of what that looks like. I think Footy Headlines have now put a tweet out with an image of someone tucking cork in JD Sports in Cork, which is a nod back to the. Is it? I want to say 2003. Is it? I think it's 2003. Someone will correct me in the comments.
We need Rocco for that.
Yeah, we do. We need encyclopedic Rocco.
The Viduka jersey. The Viduka blue
the
jersey.
the blue Viduka jersey where he smashed one in against Arsenal. Basically, it's kind of a duplicate. Yeah, it is. If it is that, it looks really good now, and I do love the original as well. So that's something to get excited about. And yeah, so still no new signings, and is the panic starting to set in? I think for a lot of people it is. I've seen a few heads wobbling. How's your head? Is it wobbling?
What do you think my head is like?
Calm as ever.
Ice cool, my man. Ice cool. Right. So I obviously interviewed Isaac Johnson during the week, and I think an interesting one from Luke Longstaff down. What, Luke? Clarify what you mean by that. Will you? You reckon we're going to get him, or we're leaving him?
Oh, hang on. So yeah, as we've started, Leeds reach agreement in principle with Newcastle United to sign Sean Longstaff.
Yes!
This is from David Ornstein. So 27-year-old midfielder into final 12 months of Newcastle terms, and provided no issues, finalising deal will become major recruit for Leeds United ahead of Premier League return.
Oh, lads, that is brilliant news. Brilliant news. He was my one sign, and I really wanted to get across the line from all the players we've been linked with. He's the one I wanted the most.
You did. To be fair, you talked about this a few weeks ago now.
Yeah.
So you have been going on about this. You've been waxing on about this for a bloody long time.
Believe it or not,
please shut him up.
I've been talking about Longstaff since Jesse Marsh in the January before we went down. He must have been in the last season of his contract, or last few months of his contract, and he was going for £2 million. That's all they wanted, and we had McKennie and Rocket in midfield. I was like, please go and get Sean Longstaff. Please go and get Sean. So I've kept an eye on him ever since, and I was delighted with him that he's one of those guys who every time he gets knocked down, he gets back up again. So he has been, they've brought in players at Newcastle to try and get rid of Sean Longstaff. Not in a bad way, just kind of trying to evolve their team. They're obviously trillionaires as a club. And every time he fights his way back in. And last season was the only time he couldn't. And that's probably because they're the best midfield trio in the league. So for me, Sean Longstaff is a brilliant signing for Leeds. I know other people won't get as excited about it. But what we need for what is going to be a relegation battle, because all we want to finish is 17th. What we need for that is solid 7 out of 10s every week. Guys who track their runners, guys who make passes, guys who will be strong defensively, smart, switched on at all times. Like one of the things I used to love Luke Ayling, absolutely love Luke Ayling. But twice a season he would switch off at a corner and let his man in. Can't afford that next season from as few players as possible, and Sean Longstaff will give us that kind of steady Eddie all the way through. I think we're going to see a midfield three, so I think it's going to be him, Ampadu and Tanaka. There seems to be no links with a number 10 whatsoever, which will make us more solid at the in the middle of the park. But I just think Longstaff, and I agree there, brilliant signing, absolutely excellent signing. And as you saw, that was my genuine reaction because I didn't know that. If anyone was watching the feed, you saw my face there. That was, oh wow, yeah, well, delighted with that. How about you, James? You happy with that?
I am really happy with it actually, and yeah, we didn't see this because we were having loads of technical difficulties getting getting the stream up and running tonight. So just been panicking trying to get that sorted. But yeah, really really good news. And funnily enough, I was talking to a Newcastle fan for a good half an hour or so today about Sean Longstaff and getting his thoughts on him, and he was saying that he gets a lot of stick from the Newcastle fans because. Well, what it turns out is I said it feels like the same situation with Calvin when he was at Leeds, where we love him so much, like he's a sibling, that we can take all of our frustrations out on him as well. You know, he's a Geordie lad, he's a Newcastle guy, and they feel he's one of them. So I think whenever there's frustrations, they just take it out on Sean Longstaff basically. But he was saying that they get frustrated because sometimes if he was brought on as an impact sub, he's not the guy to score like a late winner, but he is one who keeps the pack very coordinated. He does so much running, and which for the team is needed, and it will be needed for us out of possession. And that he's critical to. At times, he's been critical to them being solid against sides. Question marks of whether he does anything, as in inverted speech marks, because he's not been on the ball much or moved the ball around much. But if you watch, it's similar to what we used to say about Click. It's the things that when you actually properly watch him, you realise how much influence he had on the game for us. And I think that'll be the same with Sean Longstaff. So I'm really excited. I think we need someone to show what we're trying to achieve, but also just someone to just really organise us in midfield. I think it's a really, really good signing, solid for us for where we are right now.
Yeah, you're spot on. And actually I think you're right as well with that kind of that analysis of how he is viewed from game to game. Like, he's not going to be the guy hitting the 60-yard diags that are catching the world alight. He's not going to be hitting 30-yard belters in. He's not going to be making last-ditch tackles. What he's going to be doing from a defensive perspective is shielding and jockeying, so the players can't get past him. What he's going to be doing from a passing perspective is little intricate passes to get you out of trouble and move you up the pitch. What he's going to be doing is arriving into the box late every now and again and causing trouble, whether it's a goal or not. So, like I say, it's not that kind of glamorous style, but it's exactly what we need. He's 27 years old, bags of Premier League experience. I just can't see any negatives in this. Is there a price mentioned?
I haven't seen anything yet, but I suppose it'll all come out in the wash, won't it? It'll be interesting to see whether we stumped up the extra cash for him, the 15 million that they were talking about, because the 12 million was rejected. But on that as well, I know a lot of people just saying, just pay the money and get the man that you want. And I get it, but also you've got to stand pretty firm with a 1 year left on someone's contract. And 3 million quid is a salary for another player. It's a sizable chunk of money. It's not just let's throw. We're in the Premier League. Let's throw all the money we can at it. 3 million goes a long way elsewhere. So, yeah,
that's how you get yourself into trouble. You get yourself into trouble by paying just that little bit more.
Lewis, thanks for that. That's really really appreciated. Listened since the beginning. I think we're about 300 episodes in. This might be. You asked earlier how many we've done. I think this might be the 300th. Or we're very close to it.
The 300. So, this is Leeds that, and we kick someone down a
well. Anyone not into their films is not going to get that. But just leave it. That's fine.
That's what we got Rocco here now. We can get real cultural. Because that uncultured pig, he holds us down when it comes to movies. 12 billion plus add-ons up to 15. Thanks for that, Aaron. We appreciate that. Luke saying 13 plus 2.
So yeah, it's around what we were offering before then, isn't it? So
that's a great deal. Man, I'm so chuffed about that. Go back to your previous question though. So we will. I'm sure we'll end up keep talking about Longstaff as we go. How was I before? I was always cool. I was genuinely always cool. We do not. It's like you can't view professional sport as a fan the same way you'd view it as a operator, as an administrator, as a worker in the business. And this came very clear when I was interviewing Isaac last week, and obviously James, you were a producer in the background at the time. Isaac made it very clear. No one in Leeds is panicking. We have our list of targets. We're quite firm on our financials. But we have until the start of the season before anything needs to really get going, and we have until the close of the window before we can no longer sign players. And what I liken it to, and obviously my sporting background, I get it. I get why fans and stakeholders in general want immediacy, because it gives you that peace of mind. If nothing else, it gives you that peace of mind that things are happening. Things are happening. But from a business perspective, it's like if you want to hand your boss a report. Report is due in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, I could give you a report today, and you can start rehearsing it to present it, but it's not going to be as good as the one I'll give you next week with all the right facts and figures. So sometimes you just have to bide your time. And it seems that Leeds, in getting Sean Long, and this is a good example of it, Leeds are willing to be patient, which it's not going to appeal to fans, but it's worked here on Sean Longstaff. It looked like it was dead in the water. It's almost been a week, and then suddenly they get to the deal. And I think ultimately our goal is to stay up. Ultimately our goal is to finish 17th. And quite honestly, we're not going to finish 17th by appeasing fans by just signing someone. Just sign a player. Where are the signings, Joe Wayne? I used to say that all the time this week. Where are the signings? That's my Joe impression. I love Joe's show, by the way. Brilliant show. If anyone doesn't watch it, please do. So we that's not going to get you where you need to go. You have to have a business mind about it. And hopefully Sean Longstaff takes the heat off that, and we can just all settle down now and go, right, that's 3 first 11 players in. Can we now push on?
PSF's right there. Leeds have been building from the back.
Yeah.
They are getting criticism from our fans, and it is just impatience. And I get it, because social media and content and us and websites and the whole news sphere, just I don't want to sound like an old man here, because I am one, but 20, 30 years ago you would have got a newspaper and that was kind of your daily intake of it, but you just hear the noise now, and it sort of it propels it forward even more, and more people talk about it, more people worry about it. But really, I think the club have clearly got a plan. They've been talking about this for a long time. They know the types of targets they want to get. Yes, we don't have the budget that someone like Sunderland have, fine, only because of for PSR reasons. So we have to be very clever with who we sign. And I think from everything so far, feels like a bargain if it goes to plan. And Longstaff in particular, I think, just solidifies that even more. I'll be really interested to see where we go next, whether we get a number 10. Someone who's a bit more creative in the middle as well, because I think we're going to need that to unlock teams. But yeah, I genuinely feel very calm about it. I'm not losing my head, because there's just no point. History tells us that this is how Leeds tend to operate in a transfer window. I know at times we've gone big on players like Rumour, and Rodrigo was probably one of the big ones in that first Premier League window, but equally so many came in at the last minute. Tanaka was a last minute, Rafinha was a last minute.
Yeah.
So I just feel
Dan James
was
last
yeah.
minute. Yeah.
So I just always feel there's more to come. So yeah, I'm pretty level-headed, and hopefully Longstaff just calms a few heads now as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's in the 49ers' favour is their track record. Like, to be fair, their signings over the last 2 seasons have been pretty spot on. Like, I can't remember anyone that hasn't fully worked out. Whoever we've identified has been purchased, who has gone into the team. Tanaka being a brilliant example, and he was late in the window. Like, he didn't play too early. This is a very good comment, actually. So Joe was talking about this. It was Graham Smith who said that. I think someone within the club or a link close to the club had said that the noise around Anton Stack hadn't helped with the negotiations. And to be honest, there's probably 2 ways you could look at that. One, you could look at it that if Anton Stack is number 2, 3, 4 on another team's list, and suddenly Leeds are pushing for him, they might make that known a little earlier. And it would be as simply as saying to the player, look, we hear there's other clubs in for you at the moment. We need to shift whoever else before we can come in for you, but if he goes, we'd like to come in for you. And then the agent says, oh, look, if that's on the cards, we'll hold off a little bit. So that's one possible explanation. The other one is you know, one is alerting you, well, not alerting your clubs because they all know about them, but just alerting them to your interest and the immediacy of it. But to be honest, I think that's nonsense. If I'm completely honest, there's going to be competition for good players, so it's not the fans that are stopping you getting them. Like that's an absolute nonsense. You're in a high profile league. Yes, you want to do your work in the wind, but you just got to accept that that's not going to happen. You know, the minute you touch base with a player, their agent, their family, their friends, Joe Rodon's brother. You know, so someone's gonna leak it. You know, someone's gonna leak it. That's the nature of the business. Don't be complaining that, you know, people have found out about it and that's hampering your efforts. Like, there's no way that's hampering your efforts. Not a chance.
Yeah, and that comment almost pointed at Leeds as though it was our problem, but who's to say it isn't within their own camp as well? And yeah, it is just football. If it really bothers you, just don't comment on it and play it down as a club rather than making it even more of a big deal by saying something like that. Because all it then does is clarify that there is interest from Leeds, and the clubs are talking. So why don't you just deny it? That would be the best thing. Anyway. Yeah, what else we got?
Longstaff. Sean Longstaff signed live on the pod.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it hasn't gone through yet, has it? But I think it's pretty much on the way. If David Ornstein, I think Phil Hay recently said that David Ornstein is the most connected man that he's ever met. So for Phil Hay to say that is going to be pretty watertight, isn't it?
And to be fair, Isaac had said that, you know, he was still, Longstaff's pretty much agreed on personal side of things. He's very much open to coming to Leeds. So I think that's going to be relatively smooth. And I think the fact that we've gone in from 4 times now and just not taking no for an answer shows that he's going to be an important player for us. Like, I think if you're that player and a club has come to you and you're probably talking to the manager, because let's face it, that's just how things work these days, and he's going, no, look, you're really important to what I want to do next season. It does make you feel 10 feet tall. It makes you feel wanted. You know, he's going to want to come to Leeds. And do a job for Leeds, and I just think that's brilliant. Actually, one thing that on the pod that Isaac mentioned that went completely under the radar, and maybe because I got a little bit more info off him when we wrapped up, but he mentioned that Yacobiol was a done deal a week in advance, and what he told me was, I'm not sure if this, I don't think this part was on the pod, which is probably why it went under the radar. He said that basically Biol had decided on Leeds and only Leeds, that he wanted to come to Leeds. And Udinese were then forced to do the deal with Leeds in the same way, say, Leeds were forced to do the deal with Barca. So Yaka literally put his colours to the mast and said, I only want to sign with Leeds. You two clubs figure out how the deal works. So it was almost done in reverse, in that he had agreed, he had chosen Leeds, and then the clubs had to come to an agreement, which bodes great. Absolutely bodes brilliantly for the future. I think he could be a real star of the team.
Do you think as well that there are shades of that here with Longstaff? Because how many weeks has this been talked about now? And other teams would surely be interested in someone like Longstaff because he's so solid. But he's obviously felt that Leeds is the right one for him. And then because it feels like it's just been between the clubs negotiating it. But you look at Diarra and signings of that ilk, and it's very much felt like we'll go to the highest bidder. They don't really seem interested in playing for, you know, on the outside, playing for a particular club. It's just like, let's go in the Premier League on the biggest wages. And maybe that's like looking at it with harsh eyes as a Leeds fan, looking into Sunderland. But I think there's something there.
No, there's definitely something there. Like, there's 2 ways to look at it. One is someone like Diarra. Is he from Senegal?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're probably looking at one of those backgrounds where you see a lot of these African players where they're funding entire villages full of people. Fair play to them for doing that. It's incredible. And they end up going for big money, but then they put it to incredible use back home. So there could be, you know, various pressures on him like that we don't know about. But the other one is that he's trying to prove himself. Like, he's done okay, relatively well in the French league, and now he wants to come to the Premier League and see can he do it there. Sean Longstaff's in a totally different boat. Sean Longstaff is an established Premier League player who knew he was getting a Premier League club, and it was a decision around which club would suit him. And I think Leeds suits him perfectly from a geographical perspective. He could probably stay in his home, but as he's 27, probably has a couple of kids. Chances are they stay in the schools or with local creche, his family support, all that type of stuff. So it all meets that personal side of things.
And he'd never go to Sunderland, would he?
And he can't go to Sunderland. Exactly. He can't go to Sunderland. And then the next one is you got Daniel Farke telling him, you're going to be really important to me, and the club making 4 bids. Like, that's just going to make you feel so wanted, and that's just brilliant. Yeah,
I had a really good conversation at the weekend about Daniel Farke with Matthew, who used to present the podcast, founding member of it years and years ago, and he was saying that the thing he worries about next season is fans' patience, because there's a good chance that results are going to be hard. They always are in the Premier League in the first 10 games. And if we're struggling to get points, we've got some points, but we are in the relegation zone, are people going to turn on Farke? And I know that sounds obvious, because we're all prescribed to this thing of, well, yeah, if the first 10 games do go badly, or the first few results, people will turn on it. But really, what is the answer? I think Farke has been really consistent. He does have to adapt. He has to adapt more to the Premier League. They all do, let's be honest, because they've been playing in the Championship last year. But if he can adapt and show signs, are we all going to lose our heads? Are we all going to demand that he goes? Is that the right thing? Because 49ers will feel the pressure immediately from the fan base if we start to turn. And really, is it at a point where, if there are shades of it, should that shades of positive performances, should it galvanise us, and should we get behind someone like Farke? I might be alone in this thought with Matthew, but I do agree with it. I think he's never helped us in the past. History tells us that when we get on a manager's back, it doesn't necessarily help us, and we come out the other side any better.
I think what history shows us is that we're crap at picking managers.
Well,
because often the problem is not sacking one manager, it's who you appoint afterwards. And we've been terrible at that. Absolutely terrible. Case in point, Jesse Marsh. Case in point, Javi Gracia. Case in point, Sam Allardyce. So, yeah, I think that's probably the bigger point. For me, Farkas completely turned me around, I got to be honest. Last season, I think I made a comment after a win that I felt he was a dead man walking. That even if he got us up, that there wouldn't be a great deal of uproar if he was sacked upon achieving promotion. And for some reason, a switch flipped in my head once we got promotion. I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. Maybe it's just because he did what he set us out to do. He did it well, and I just actually love him now. I always liked him, but him actually achieving what he set out to do did totally make me see him in a totally different light, and I feel a certain sense of loyalty towards him now, and I appreciate everything he did, and even the things I criticize him for, he proved me wrong. So, like, full credit to him. So I would love to see a little bit more patience, but I'm a bit like yourself. I'm a bit worried about the fan base, because you see this nonsense popping up every now and again on Twitter, and I know Twitter is not the be all and end all, but it is a microcosm of how the fans feel. This stuff about the reason we haven't signed players is because Farke has no pull. I mean, what a load of absolute horse crap. I can't even believe where that comes from. Like, Premier League team, Leeds United, I could be the manager and we'd still attract players. Like, it's absolute bloody nonsense. Although Dan from Content Creators Cup would do a decent job with his managerial ability. I wouldn't bet against him doing a good job for Leeds. Maybe an outsider. Any chance we get Chilino in, have a conversation with Dan? We've been in the Champions League within 2 years.
Yeah, but he'd also be out when he doesn't let Chilino pick his team. So yeah.
He'd have to stick to his principles.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think we need to be bit patient. I do think the general fan base will. I really do.
Yeah, and it's always tricky, isn't it? Because we talk about the fan base as though we're above it, and that's not what I mean. Because I have a tendency to fall into the trap of being like, yeah, go on, get emotion. Your emotion kicks in, and you think it's all going to shit. Get rid of him. But I think what I'm trying to do is talk myself down from that frame of mind and realize, actually, does it solve anything? Everything is against us everything is against the side that goes into the Premier League. You've got years, 5 seasons for a lot of clubs now that are in there that have established themselves, 10 transfer windows, and the quality of they've had significant time to build the quality of their squads. That's what we're up against going into the Premier League. So we need to be tight as a fan base and make Ellen Road the fortress that it is, basically.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I think the thing is, I mean, we have to be realistic as well. Like, if it's going wrong and there's poor substitutions,
you have to call it out.
Poor decisions. You got to call that out, and you got to recognize it and say, okay, loyalty isn't going to get me anywhere now. But I think certainly, I think as a fan base, we're actually quite good at that. I know, like online, it's a totally different world, but I think as a fan base, we can be quite patient. Like Jesse Marsh being a perfect example. I wanted him out from the get go. So even when he won a game, I was like, it was clear to me it was won by luck. It wasn't won by tactical awareness. I would have sacked him in the first summer. So I would have given him 2 or 3 months in the job and then let him go. Because the minute he said there was no, minimal width and all this stuff, you're like, well, that's just never going to work. That system's literally never going to work. So even though he had gotten a few results, I would have been happy to let him go because what I was seeing on the pitch didn't make sense to me. It was never going to be successful. And you have to look at the same, like Simon Grayson, probably a really good example of this. Like Simon Grayson ended up getting sacked in the end, not completely because of results. It was because he couldn't sort out the defence. So after year, we were just really good going forward and very poor at the back. And no matter what players we gave him, they'd come in and do great for a few weeks and then they'd revert to being a poor championship player. And that eventually got Simon Grayson sacked because you saw that pattern. So I think if we do see a pattern developing, we need to act relatively swiftly and decisively.
Yeah.
But we got to have someone lined up. Like Brighton get in De Zerbi and these other people. It's who we get in if you need to. But for the moment, I'm not concerned about that. For the moment, I think Farke's building his squad. He's going to do it. I think he's going to do enough to keep us up. And I think this is Farke's big year for Farke. I think he's going to have a really big season. And I think he's going to keep us up.
Yeah, there's a really good podcast actually. It might come out in the last couple of days from All Stats Aren't We, and John McKenzie, who used to present on there and works for the Athletic doing tifos. Really good at talking about tactics within sport, and was talking about Man City and their setup and how they obviously take teams apart and force them into a low block, and that's how they've done it for years and years and years. Got them into a low block, but still able to break them down. And because they're in a low block, they then find it really hard to get up the field. But what he's saying in the recent years is that people's low block has improved, and actually they can attack better from having a low block position against Man City. And that's why last season they struggled and teams were getting more points from them, basically. So I think that's really interesting because I'm not saying Leeds are going to play a low block, but we've signed a bunch of defenders, really big physical defenders. We know we're going to have to defend, but yet we've still got absolutely rapid attacking pace to get up the field as well. So I'm starting to get excited about the season. I am starting to get excited, and the Longstaff signing has helped because you kind of start to see a picture of what we're going for now. We've seen it with the defence, you see it with Longstaff. And then you start to think, well, what have we got out wide? We've got Ramazani and Yonto. We've got Dan James for pace. We've got Joel Peru, is a fantastic finisher of the ball. Nemecha apparently in training has been very, very good. So I know it's a free and no one's got that excited about it, but keeps his fitness. We could have a really good sign in there. So, yeah, I'm feeling really positive. I really am, genuinely.
Nemecha's a wild card. Like we don't know what we're going to get from him. Like he could score 20 goals. He has the talent to do it. So like he's an absolute wild card. I think the way we're going to play next season, the way it's shaping up with the players we've bought, is we're probably shaping up not to play a low block, but still play possession football, but conservatively. So I don't think we're going to be in a situation where it's going to be like Bielsa, like everyone streaming forward. I think you'll have your trigger points, you'll have the right time when people will do that. But I think for the most time it will be men behind the ball, hard working performances, and breaking at pace. If you look at Goodmanson, he looks very quick. He's really good on the ball out wide. We know Bogle is the same. We know that obviously James, Nonto, Ramazani, all lightning fast. So Ramazani apparently is nearly as fast as Dan James, though we didn't see him kind of put on the afterburners too much last season. So I think that's the way we're going to play, and I think we just need that centre forward to knit it all together. But speaking of which, have you seen super muscular Patrick Bamford?
He looks like the back of a bull, doesn't he?
Yeah, Patrick Schwarzenegger, and there is actually that is Arnold Schwarzenegger's son is named Patrick. Actually, just cop that there. I know a lot about Predator, lads.
Yeah, that's alarming. Well, I'm just going to bring up this comment actually because 8563 Robbie, lads, do we think Burnley and Sunderland are already down? Right, so Dara, I was going to say, where do you think Leeds are going to finish?
17th.
I know we're early, but where do you think?
17th. I couldn't care less if it's 16th, 15th, whatever. I think 17th. I think the three teams going down, and no, I don't think anyone's down already because people are going to fight fight for everything this season. I
Yeah.
think you're looking at, but my three favourites to go down are Sunderland, Burnley, and Brentford. I think Brentford have done an absolute botch job getting that Muppet Keith Andrews in, and I think he's going to take them down.
So if you had have asked me before we knew about Longstaff, I would have probably said I am not confident of us staying up. But it's funny what one signing does. I'm not saying I'm not saying he's the answer, but you start.
But he could be the difference between 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, he could be. That's very true. But there's just something in it that just made me think we are. It tells you everything that we've been saying, which is we're quietly going about our business and doing the things that we need to do. And I think we're looking more and more solid as the days go by. In fact, everyone's putting their predictions in now. So Lewis is going 16th, Richard 15th, and
we've got Imagine Not Being Leeds in the chat as well. Actually, talking about the Content Creators Cup.
Ah, nice. Up the roses. Looking forward to it. Anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, Leeds Creators Cup this weekend, Sunday, and 1:00 kick-off. Tickets are £7 for adults, £3 for children. We were all going to be there playing against one another. Dara's coming over from Ireland, especially for it as well. So come and say hello. All the details are on their website. There's a link in the description on your podcast player or YouTube at the minute. So PSF is saying top 10. Luke at the moment 19th, but we will do enough after transfers. And B Quirky, this is an interesting one. Surprised people think Wolves will struggle. They went on an insane run even without Cunha. I'm not sure about Wolves, but I always feel like they're one that are on the precipice of falling off. I definitely think, like you said, Dara, Brentford are one to watch as well. I'm not convinced by Keith Andrews. Although we got a lot of praise last season. Was it a goal Brentford scored against Crystal Palace? I think I mentioned it on the podcast actually because was he set piece coach.
He's a set piece coach, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Big difference. Big difference between being a set piece coach and a manager.
Yeah, definitely. I bet he couldn't coach Rafinha to do set pieces though, could he? Throw-ins.
Long throw-ins.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably it. We should probably just go off into the sunset.
Off into the sunset now with Sean Longstaff. Yeah, that sounds exactly good to me.
Good stuff. Well, thanks everyone for. Oh, go on. There's always one more. There's always one more.
I know we mentioned it, but we are about 20 subscribers away from the big 1,000 mark.
15 now.
15 now. I tell you what, if we could get that 15, imagine we got that 15 on our 300 episode. Just saying, it'd be lovely. So if you're out there watching and you haven't hit subscribe, please hit subscribe and like the video. Because we get to 1,000 subscribers, that would be a big milestone for us.
Dara's so much. You're so much better at asking than I am. I'm always just like, like and subscribe, please.
Look, we're all friends here. If we can help each other out, that's how I feel about it. Leeds family.
Good stuff. And as we just said, Leeds Creator Cup this weekend. Link is in the description. Bring yourself along. And just thinking actually, the prize draw. That ended this week as well. 5 winners. All the prizes are going on the way to them. If you entered and you didn't hear, sadly, sorry, you weren't a winner. But yeah, 5 lucky people have got some amazing gear.
Who won? Even I don't know.
I think it's listed on the actual prize draw. I don't know. I'll read them out next time. There you go. I'll tell you who won, so you know it's legitimate.
Yeah, post it on Twitter. I was meant to actually buy a load of tickets in my wife's name, but I just didn't so because I really wanted one of those jerseys.
We would have found you out. I would have seen it.
Yeah, I was like, Cleaner couldn't not. That was whoever got those, you were lucky people. Actually, you know what? If you're listening to this and you did one of those jerseys, when you get it, send us a picture. Definitely, because they are incredible. Prizes.
I'll tell you what. So one person, God, we were trying to end this way, but here we are. But Bob, special hello to Bob in the US, who bought a T-shirt from us on the website. He also entered it and won the prize draw, and I think it's going to go to their supporters club, the shirt as well. So that's really good. Very chuffed for them. And it is on your way. It is on the way to you, Bob, if you are watching or listening. It's been sent today. So good stuff. Well, that's it. Everyone get excited and more optimistic now. Longstaff is hopefully in the door. And it's going to be an interesting few days. And we've got a football match to watch this week. 2 football matches, Creators Cup and Leeds versus Scum. So Enjoy
Creators
it. One
Cup
more.
will be on Joe Blackburn's page.
Joe Blackburn.
So you can subscribe to Joe Blackburn's YouTube page, and the Creators Cup will be broadcast live on that. And as far as I know, it's like a proper production. There'll be pre-match interviews, post-match interviews, full suite of commentators for the game, and everything else. So yeah, it's got.
Yeah, if that's a good point. If you can't make it, it will obviously be on YouTube and you can watch it. We'll put all the links out on social over the next few days.
If James falls over, we can all clip it and laugh.
Yeah, that's not. Please don't. Please don't. I'm getting old. Don't be kind to an old man.
Imagine the amount of times we're going to see people try to run and then like pulling a hammy.
That's the main thing I'm worried about. Is just like my knee going or something. Anyway, cool. Right. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you all very soon. Cheers.